Hey folks, just wanted to jump back in here because I ended up cutting this video up into a couple sections. So this will be sort of the intro to part two. I just wanted to correct one of the names I mentioned in the first part. Joshua's wife was not Sarah. Sarah was another member of the family who came later, but Mary. So there's that, and also prepare yourself for some crazy driving across the farm and through the woods. And we're going to do a little more walking in the woods in this part. So enjoy. Well, here we are, working our way down to the cellar hole. These are all spruce, I believe, or fir. I can't remember. I can never remember. I'm terrible at that sort of thing. But these all started out as small trees. I had a deer fly bite my hand, sorry. These all started out as small trees and were not sold, so they're now big trees. Eventually they'll be chipped. This was once a field, evidently. And a long time ago, there was a little house. And we're going to do some bushwhacking like I usually do to get down to it. I did a lot of clearing here as well over the winter in hopes I could find a few things I'd missed, but this is another area I've really searched hard over the last year or so. There was a lot of wind damage down here, a lot of downed trees, so you'll see a lot of brush piles. I actually worked down here with the chainsaw and the hatchet during the winter with the permission of the landowner to clear some of what was here. So now it's all nice and open and you can walk. But all of these Christmas trees, as Ann likes to call them, had limbs like 5 inches off the ground, and you could not swing in here at all with the metal detector. And in January I did end up finding another coin here. I've only found 2 coins in this spot. One was a 1840s large cent, and then most recently a silver Spanish half real, pirate treasure from 1778. They were legal in this country up until about the 4th decade of the 19th century, because we weren't producing enough silver, so they were using the coins of other countries to fill the gap. But here it is, just a little tiny hole in the ground. You can barely see it. It's just a tiny little divot, which is a good thing as far as protecting it, because if this was visible from outer space, everybody and their brother would be in here without asking permission. And yes, friends, you have to ask for permission before you go metal detecting someplace. It's private property. So, yeah, but we found a lot of buttons here. And there's still a lot of bricks and things under the ground that I dig up quite often. But I found that I was shown this place pretty early on last year. So it was one of the first places I searched. And I ended up calling it Button Town because of all the buttons we'd find. But yeah, here's all the scrub that I cut last winter. There's a big mound of ledge over there. You can't really see it because of the lighting right now, but there's interesting things over there also. There's a strange little foundation built into the side of it, almost like some sort of a root cellar or a place to keep things cold or something. Maybe it's their refrigerator. All right, well, we're going to swing a little bit here real quick just to see if anything pops out, and if it does, we'll show it to you. Well, it's been about half an hour since I was last talking to you. And I haven't found anything, I haven't dug a single hole. But that is typical out here because I've been here so many times. Mostly I just wanted to show you these spots where I've been. So we're walking back out now. It's beautiful here. I love this place. It's in the 90s today. It's going to be a warm one, so we're going to spend our time in the woods mostly, which is a smart thing to do. I've mentioned Anne. She's been amazing, but I should also mention my friend Laura, who introduced me to Anne. Thanks to Laura, or none of this ever would have happened out here. And then Anne for introducing me to George, and Randy for being so accommodating. I think altogether I have about 800 to 900 acres to roam. It's very rocky ground out here though. There's a lot of places where nothing happened. But everything is a mystery. You never know what you're going to find. You never know where you're going to find it. I was at another permission the other day, and I had my car just tucked into a little turnaround off the road. And there's a field there beyond. And I'd finished eating my sandwich, turned the machine back on, and right there was a King George II halfpenny from 1740. History is everywhere. We're walking over it every moment of every day. And like I said before, I'm not out here to get rich. Even that halfpenny, if it was in good condition, which it's really not, would be worth about $3. There was a lot of English currency floating about, and it's common because it's not only used here, it was used obviously back in the UK for a long time. It's common stuff. My favorite things to find though are the early American coins. I really love finding those. Thinking about what was going on then, how new everything was, and just the great experiment, right? It was all very primitive. Getting the mint off the ground, and how people handled money, how they spent money. You always wonder, why did this farmer even have this penny? He was probably trading his goods. He didn't really need a penny. Somebody paid him a penny and he probably didn't care much for it and lost it. It was in his pocket. Probably didn't know what to do with it. Who knows? You just really don't know. Well, we're coming back out now. I'm going to walk back down this farm lane toward the buildings. We're going to hop in the car and we're going to go for a drive and go to another spot all the way at the other end of the property, someplace where I haven't really searched a whole lot and haven't had much luck when I have, but I'm just going to play around a little bit. All right, well, we're going to take a little drive and go down to the old sap house. There's a couple ways to get there. We're going to try this way because I think this is dried up enough now that we can get through it, but in the early spring this gets washed out. There's a culvert up here that has failed, and it's all off-road out here. Here's the culvert area. There's a stone there. Let's see. Yeah, the bumpies. There we go. We got through. There's a couple of routes even here to get down there too. There's a bunch of roads that wind around. We're gonna go over the cliff. You ready? This is the fun part. Here we go. Woohoo! Go Loretta. Here we go. There's an interesting stone enclosure off to the right over here. Don't know what it's for. Another animal pen area of some kind. There's walls everywhere. There's some interesting configurations of stone walls here on the farm. Here we go. We're going to drive through an area that they call the sandy place. Very, very sandy soil. Oh, that happened last time too. Doesn't want to run over the tree. Come on, you're going to run over the tree now. Let's go. This car has one of those idiot systems that won't let you crash into things. But last time I tried to drive over that tree, the same thing happened. Oh well. There's an interesting road off that way where Laura comes in when she visits this property. It goes over to her place eventually. This spring I challenged myself to find coins for Daniel. Daniel was the young son of Joshua and Mary. He passed away in 1815 from spotted fever, followed a couple weeks later by his dad Joshua. But every coin I found this spring, up until his birthday, was going to be Daniel's coin. We were starting him a coin collection. And right in that spot right there, found an 1803 drape bust large cent for him. And then up here, we also discovered a flat stone with some carvings in it and possibly a date. It may have a map on it. You can't see it right now, but interesting. There's another opening in the wall up here, which we'll go through to get to the road to the sap house. And also the spring down here, and has a natural spring down here that's seasonal. Let's see, here we go. This is the turn. More sand. Just a little further down here, I found another King George III halfpenny this spring for Daniel. I talk to Daniel while I'm out here sometimes. He's my sidekick. He's a little 8-year-old kid. I like to think he's with me. I know if I was an 8-year-old kid roaming around the farm, I'd be curious about what was going on too. But yeah, we found that King George for him right here in the middle of this old road going down to the sap house. And I called Daniel DH. Those are his initials. He's my designated hitter. This tree's leaning over. We can get past it though. There we go. Piece of cake. There's another tree down a little bit there. Ann drives down here often as well to get to the spring. And she's been nice enough to fill jugs of water for me to take home. It's good stuff. Here's one of the old sugar maples right there. Eventually, if you were to keep going in the direction of this road, you'd hit some wetlands. We're going down, 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 downhill. There's a big rock formation up there, which feeds the spring, I'm guessing. And there's a big ditch right there. And I'm not sure if I passed the pine yet, but there it is. There's a pine tree you see, and you know you're at the spring. And there used to be handrails and whatnot to get down to it, but it's not far off the road here. Should be right down in there somewhere. Yeah, I can't see it from here. Maybe that was the wrong tree. Gotta pay attention to my driving, right? Anyway, I think we're there. I think we're at the sap house. There it is. The old sap house. Unsure of when this was built. But here it is. Still has the boilers in there and everything. Hasn't been used in a long time. The old sap house on the farm. Most of what I find here is scrap metal from the roof and things like that. But I'm going to explore a little bit off into the woods and just see if there's any accidental losses of coins and buttons and suspender buckles and all that kind of good stuff. There's the sap house, hiding in the trees. We'll pull up a little bit here and get out and start our search. I actually may pull up a bit further upwards, back up the road, so I can search where I parked the car. There we go. Let's come up here and park Loretta right here. There we go. All right, we'll be back. $44, $45. Let's try it from this way. Well, there you go. That's a non-ferrous target. My guess, it's ammo brass. It's going to be a rifle casing. But I'd like to be wrong. I'm going to dig it up. Okay, so I dug the hole, which is right here, and it's right in there. Don't know what it is yet. There you go. I think it's an entire bullet, in fact. Right there. Let's drop it. Hang it up a little bit. There it is. An entire dropped bullet. Nothing too exciting there. Okay, here's a 35. Oh, 37. Showing a nice round mark on the center line. Probably going to be the end of a shotgun shell. We'll be back. Yes, children, this ancient artifact is how people used to open their drink cans. Well, here's an interesting signal. Started out as a 44 again. The high pinging sound in my headphones. It's probably going to be something iron, but it's large. So, I suspect a tool of some kind. So I'll dig it up and see what it is. Well, there you go, folks. It's hammer time. No doubt used to put the taps on the trees, right? Probably. Well, I've been digging a fair amount of holes, even on the side of this hill, which leads all the way down to the sap house. There's one of the big old maples right there. I figured I'd find some taps, some old taps or something, maybe some copper tubing. I'm not sure how they got the sap down the hill in the old days, but everywhere you go on an old farm, you're going to find these. Here we go. That is an ox shoe. Ox, of course, are, castrated bulls. And they'd have two of these on each foot because they have cloven hooves. There you go. They're everywhere. Every stone wall you see they were building those walls. They were dragging those stones out of the fields and helping the farmers. So 3 cheers for the oxen. Woohoo! Well, I'm almost to the top of the hill above the sap house. And one thing we have here is stone. It's everywhere. I think this is a natural break from the freezing and of the water that got into the fissures on the stone. Granite, just like everything else in New Hampshire. But the second generation, and the namesake of the second generation, Samuel, was a stone cutter. And he married Joshua and Mary's oldest daughter, Betsy. And he was a savior for this place because at the time there were no other males old enough to work the farm after Joshua passed away. And yeah, the legacy continued from there. But everywhere you go here, you will find evidence of stone cutting. He was a second generation stone cutter, and his father even died as a result of a blast while cutting stone not too long after he took over the farm here. And so I suspect his father spent some time here cutting stone too. I think he was also a Samuel. I think Samuel may have been Junior, but I'm not positive about that. All right, well, I'm going to keep looking around, and we'll keep talking to you. Well, we found some more artifacts, evidence of maple syrup production up here. Nothing old. This would have been from the last generation to tap the trees up here, which would have been Anne's father. I should also thank Joe, who is Anne's brother. They own the property together, although Joe does not live here, but I thank them both for allowing me out here. Yeah, I won't say the name of their father because that would, he has an unusual name, and it would probably be quite easy to figure out the rest of his name. But yeah, he had the property up until 2002, thereabouts, I think. And I know he was tapping trees as well as his father and mother before them. And like I said, about 225 years or so on this property, this family. Well, look at that sugar maple. I don't know if you can tell perspective-wise, but from my perspective, it looks huge. We're going to walk down to it and swing the metal detector as we go. Hopefully not fall down the hill, but keep an eye on that thing and see how big it gets by the time we get there. It is a monster. That is a monster of a sugar maple. I'm actually working my way back down the hill toward the sap house. I need to get some water. I didn't bring my my water up the hill with me because I knew I was going to stay close to the car. But it's going to be lunchtime soon as well, so working our way back down, jumping over stumps and down tree limbs and everything else. Which, yes, Dad, that's why I didn't bring you out here. I spend about 8 hours at a stretch when I do this kind of thing. All day long. I just make sure I do all my work in the evenings, early in the morning before I go out, that kind of thing. Wow, look at this thing. All right. This is a massive tree. All right, I'm gonna have to put something here for perspective. You're big. All right, we're gonna put the metal detector up against it. And maybe put our shovel here too. And get an idea of how big this monster is. Now, it's a little shovel, but this is a big tree. All right, here we go. That tree is a monster. I'm walking backwards up the hill. All right, let's look at the top of it. I would say that that tree is about, gosh, I'm horrible with diameters. Let's see. It would take 3 adults to wrap their arms around that, probably. But it gets even wider right here. It is massive. That is a massive sugar maple. Beautiful. No doubt they tapped this tree. This tree is a survivor. It's been here a long time. A long, long time. All right, let's keep going. And another one. An ox shoe. They're everywhere. Chances are we'll find another one before we're done today, because we're digging a lot of stuff that we don't normally dig. Sometimes I limit myself to one of these because I've gotten used to what they look like on the screen, and I'll say, okay, not another ox shoe today. But there's dozens of them all across the farm. Okay, 2 minutes later, there it is again. Well, I'm just about to break for lunch, and very close to the car now, and found this sort of modern looking hinge, but it does have a square nail through it, so it's got some age to it. Probably came right here from this sap house right there. I'll give you a quick little tour of the sap house before I sit down and have my lunch. We'll go in and check it out real quick. Like I said earlier, I don't know how old it is really, and wasn't sure either. I think it's very old. Very, very old. Let's see, I'm not sure if we can see in here or not. I got a little flashlight. Might be able to. There's the boilers and the pans, which are turned upside down. So, yeah. My light works a little bit, not too much, but here you go. This is it. So I've got a pile of wood in here for firing the boilers. There's the pile of wood, the boilers, pans. There's even some graffiti in here. Ready to place a little tic-tac-toe right there, and a little business card hanging on the wall over there from Fred, who is one of the property owners, one of the relatives. In the mid-20th century. Let's see, there's some more excellent graffiti over here too. What do we got? What does that say? Let's see. We've got Dan from 1901. January 24th, 1901. And Milo, who I believe was a family friend, August 1st of 1899. And we've got Dan H. L. Dan H. I don't know about that one. L. Dan H. Well, there's a lot of Dans here, a lot of Daniels. So I'm not positive which one that would be. Some more over there. If you look around, there's a bunch of here and there and everywhere. But yeah, very cool. The sap house. Okay, back from lunch. First hole, big old axe head. Yeah, check that out. Right next to this sugar maple. Luckily, the car's right there. I don't want to carry this around all afternoon. Now, that boy, I wouldn't want him stepping on me. I don't know about you. That's a big ox shoe. Well, here's some actual evidence of stone cutting like I was talking about a while back. You can see all the markings along the top edge here where this stone was taken apart. Same with the one up behind it. And that one back there too, I suspect. I don't know where that stone went. Probably straight down the hill to make the foundation for that sap house, but I see a lot of round stones down there in the foundation, so unsure. They could have gone back up over the top. Team of oxen and a stone boat probably dragged them back somewhere else on the farm, either to be sold or used at the farm. But this sort of evidence is everywhere here. It's amazing stuff.